I
Yes.
why are you so worried? Why is your blood pressure so high? And so we have doctors in the house who will be explaining more of that for us. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Welcome on board.
All right, today we have doctors everywhere who will be helping us x-ray this topic critically. In the studios, we have a public health practitioner who is a regular on the program, and he's become more or less like a partner on this program. It's a pleasure to have Dr. Tuyi Mebawondu once again on the program. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
And I must.
I hope you are not hypertensive.
I'm not hypertensive. Thank God. But I must comment, on your outfit today. I'm used to seeing you in suits.
Because I'm happy.
Oh wow, that's
Very
nice.
happy.
Yeah. Thank you for coming, sir.
What's making me happy?
Okay.
You get to know about it.
All right. Very soon. Okay. All right. All right. Sitting very close to Dr. Tuyi Mebawondu, we have a nutritionist at the State General Hospital in Ota, in the person of Mrs. Yemisi Lawal. Good afternoon, Yemisi. Thank you indeed for coming on the show.
Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
So what relationship exists between worrying and thinking? Because in my little research, I mean, it's just amazing that did not even come up as one of the main causes of hypertension. How come we have so closely related, thinking, worrying with having high blood pressure?
We think like that, but the thought might not be misplaced in a way. One of the most detailed study on hypertension is the famed Framingham study in Boston. And we look at a characteristic of behavior, that tends to predispose in a way to hypertension. And we talk about the type A personality, where they're restless, they're worrisome, they cannot focus, they cannot sit down in one place. Well, it's a predisposition. It doesn't really make you hypertensive. Okay. But the key thing is that when predisposition is matched with genetics or matched with some other things, then it can actually lead to full-blown cases of hypertension. So again, and you must also appreciate the fact that once you worry, you pour out some hormones that tend to, create a kind of fear or anxiety hormones, so to say. And these anxiety hormones has a way of causing what we call vasoconstriction in the beds of the vessels, and then push the blood pressure up temporarily. But if the worry is sustained, of course, other factors may be added to it and then give rise to hypertension. And basically, even if you want to really deal with hypertension, especially at the pre-hypertensive stage, proper meditation, proper relaxation, proper calmness of the mind becomes so important, in addition to other lifestyle changes.
All right, I need to ask this question, still related to thought or thinking, and hypertension. Because I, as a human being, 24 hours a day, I'm thinking about one thing or the other. It's either you're thinking about, okay, what next to do at work, or on your way home, what am I going to prepare for dinner, or what am I going to do with this boy's issue? Something. There's always something you're thinking about. So my question is, how can the mind or the body system actually tell the good kind of worry, and the bad kind of worry, the one that leads to hypertension?
Again, you've really pointed the issue out. There's what we call a benign worry and malignant worry. There's a worry that you get involved in that tends to make you take actions in specific ways that are not really, morbid in a way, that actually, push you forward. But there's some worry that are not actually founded. And again, there's what we call exaggeration of those worries. Okay? This is what's going to happen, or that is going to happen, and then it becomes a dominant thought in your process. And then the way body-mind relationship works is such that as much as we are trying to unravel it scientifically, the whole thing is not fully understood, because the process of worry itself, involves a lot of biochemical structural changes in the body. These biochemical structures, secretion, then affects some other part of the body that can then predispose to so many other things. For you, for benign worry, that something is about having to take action about something and then let the thing go. It's different from a chronic pessimist, a chronic person that is depressed, a chronic person that worries and never gets happy with anything. So there are two different things entirely.
Let's bring the nutritionist in on this discussion, and as we explore the lifestyle factors, they say excess salt, what else, alcohol and the rest. What relationship exists between the consumption of these things and hypertension, as well as smoking.
Well, there are different factors, lifestyle factors that can affect, and you listed some. And for example, the salt, we as an African nation, we Nigerians,
We love to add more salt.
We
After you have
love
prepared
salt.
the meal, you now carry extra salt.
exactly. And even a child less than 3, less than 1, I beg your pardon, should not be eating salt. But when you start introducing solids to the children of that age, you encourage the mothers to try amala, for example, and ewedu. And most of those ewedu, they put salt in things like that.
Of course.
And by the time the child grows up, the tongue gets used to eating much salt. Yeah, and the child grows.
So a child under 1 should
not be eating salt
at all.
No,
At all?
at all. Yes.
Wow. What is that? Is that a medical reason
Well,
for
the
that?
kidneys are not well.
Well, oh, okay.
or like they're not functioning well like an
But we'll
adult.
be eating salt. I don't think that's portends any danger to
Well, that's why
Africans.
that's
what
why
it is.
a lot of Africans.
Renewed
Maybe
awareness.
our kidneys have evolved over the years.
No.
I, for example, where I trained and where I worked for years as well, doing my master's research there, I was able to see that we as Africans will predisposed to so many things. And this is all
Because of some things,
lifestyle
you know,
things.
that we do
and
traditionally.
because everybody
Yeah.
like, oh well, Africans were used to it anyway, you know, all that type of shabbish kind of behavior, not trying to look more after. Why can't we do it? Our generations, we're the next generations from 30 years old upwards that way. You know, we need to be more assertive and how do I put it? We need to put more into looking after our health. I was in a university, a private university there in Otta there, and I was invited to give a health talk and doing consultation after the health talk, seeing children 14 years old, 15 years old, 17 years old, already having IBP. What is happening as Africans?
What really is responsible for that?
Well, it could be in the blood, genetically, scientifically, and also the lifestyle as well. Eating much salt is recommended. We as adults to eat just 6 grams of salt a day, and that's when you take the teaspoon of a baby, scoop the salt with it,
Okay.
Level it. Okay.
and the morning salt comes from that, afternoon salt comes from that, night salt comes from that little teaspoon
That is all you're allowed to take in a day.
in a day.
Wow. So more or less,
What's a saltless
you
food?
shouldn't take cooked food like more than once. That's what it means. But then you find out that even every other thing that is not cooked here that you have to maybe snack on, you know, still has salt in it.
Has
Like
some
bread,
element of
like
salt.
there's still salt in it somewhere. So how do you really manage that?
What I tell my patients at work is a choice.
Salt makes the world go round. I mean,
Well-
I can't imagine a saltless life.
You have to make the choice. I made the choice back where I trained, where I was living before, 23, 22-year-old. I don't want to have IBP. As an African, it flows in the blood and I might be predisposed. And if I don't look after my body well, I'm likely to have IBP maybe by 40, 50. And I made my mind up, my rice, I'm not going to put salt.
You know what?
My yam, I'm not going to put salt. And it's still carrying on.
Because the
That's it.
sauce might have salt.
Well,
And then, you
So
know, it's
there's
not
no
just
salt
salt.
in rice.
We put salt in the food, then we add the stock cubes again, and that already contains some more
Salt as well.
salt. And then maybe you're cooking with chicken and something, you've pre-boiled that with salt again, then you
And
add the
then
broth.
You're washing
to you.
your snail or your
Everything
catfish.
is about
Exactly.
salt.
Everything.
Wow.
Let's put this in the right perspective for the benefit of the viewers. And I'm coming to the doctor. What exactly is high blood pressure? And what impact does that have on the health of a human being?
Well, again, to simplify it as much as possible, there's a pressure, there's a force that takes the blood from the heart around the whole structure. It's just like when you're, not the whole body, it's just like when you're trying to pump water in your house. There's a pump that takes the water around the house. You know, there's a pressure at which this pump goes, you know, push the blood into your system. There's two measurements. There's a one upstairs when the heart is contracting, there's a pressure, and when the heart relaxes, there's another pressure. So when the heart contracts, that's called an upper or systolic pressure. When the heart relaxes, that's called the diastolic or lower pressure. Now, we've seen regularly, but in each of the arteries around the body, the pressure may not be exactly the same. But we've used the brachial artery, the one at the arm, as a measurement that can reflect what is going on in terms of all the pressures around the body. And then we've said that, okay, because it's measured in a millimeter of mercury, we've said that a blood pressure of 140/90 as an absolute now should be the upper limit of normal. Okay, it's a range. Actually, the upper one, which is when the heart contracts, we usually allow between 100, and even 130 something, 135, 130. Okay, as a normal one. But the lower one we look at between 60 and maximum of 90. So that is the range. Okay, then we cannot then say that if you do a single measurement and the blood pressure is very high, that the person is hypertensive or is high. So what we need to do is that it's only when we have a consistently high blood pressure that we now say this person is hypertensive. Okay, and then we start asking questions. Why is this person hypertensive? Okay, like the nutrition mentioned, in Africa, blacks are predisposed to having hypertension for whatever reason. Okay, genetic, environmental factors. But the high point of the thing is this. Apart from the fact that somebody who is aging, as you old, the blood pressure tends to increase because of the hardening of the arteries and some other factors. There's quite a lot of lifestyle involved in hypertension development. And if these are modifiable factors, it behoves us to then look down and be able to push a public campaign to look at those factors that can be modified to reduce blood pressure. Now, if you look at the economic perspective of high blood pressure, it's quite huge. The toil on the family, the toil on the pocket, the toil on even the public health system. It becomes, a much thing that we must also do to campaign to have a sustained control or sustained management of high blood pressure. The third thing is that most of this high blood pressure are insidious. What it means is that people may not actually know that they have high blood pressure until they have complication of the blood pressure. They just walk around and feel happy. Oh, I saw this guy yesterday, nothing was wrong with him, he was jumping around. But, before daytime, he's dead already. Okay? You're wondering. And of course, Trust Africans, they were ascribed to witchcraft, somebody who didn't like me, the second mother, and all those stuff. These guys may be carrying blood pressure with silent signs, maybe just tiny headaches, or a bit tired, say, no, let me rest. It must be this and that. Lo and behold, the person develop high pressure when we now see stroke, when we now see heart failure, when we now see renal failure. So because of that, it becomes important for everybody to measure the blood pressure regularly.
All right, let's hold the thoughts there because Abuja is already on standby. We have Dr. Gregor Williams, who is a medical practitioner, joining us from Abuja. Good afternoon, Dr. Williams. Thank you for joining us on the program this afternoon. Now, as you're aware, we're discussing hypertension or high blood pressure on the program this afternoon. I want to know, how does high blood pressure or hypertension destroy organs in the body? How does that work?
High blood pressure, as it says, can cause a lot of damage because some of the more sensitive organs, say for example your kidneys, your eyes, your heart, the blood vessels and the capillaries at those levels are so tiny that a raised blood pressure which is sustained over a considerable amount of time can cause damage to these vessels, and that in turn can affect the tissues that allow these organs to work at their best. For prime example, your kidneys. Because it is such a sensitive organ, the sustained pressure over time can damage the filtration system within the kidneys and cause leakage in protein, which over time leads to a deterioration in the function of your kidneys and chronic kidney disease.
About the lifestyle risk factors, and we already touched on excess salt, but let's also begin to look at the importance of alcohol consumption and how it affects the blood pressure.
Sorry, do you mind repeating that again?
Asking doctor the role that alcohol consumption plays in blood pressure.
Alcohol consumption can also lead to significant problems because we've raised alcohol consumption over time. This can affect your regulatory system because through problems with your kidneys, also problems with the liver. The also buildup of or the breakdown of alcohol leads to deposits of fat and cholesterol within the blood vessel system, which can sometimes lead to hardening of the arteries, and as a consequence of that, you have an increased blood pressure. And this sustained over many years, or can have a detrimental effect on your health, and can also lead to other organ damage as a result of these raised pressures.
Let me ask you one more question. As a woman, I know that sometimes you might really not have hypertension, but then when you become pregnant, you could become hypertensive. So let's talk a bit about gestational hypertension. How does that actually work? How do women become, or what makes women become hypertensive while they're pregnant?
Good question. And I think this is a multifactorial problem. Some women may have a predisposition, or they may already have some risk factors which would put them in the category of patients who are more at risk of developing gestational hypertension. Say, for example, patients who may have already been overweight, patients who may have an unhealthy lifestyle, meaning that they're not really getting a lot of exercise, they have bad dietary habits, taking in foods that are high in saturated fat, high in salt. So having risk factors, be these environmental or be it personal, increases the risk of developing high blood pressure during pregnancy. The other aspect of that is that during pregnancy, the hormones that come into play to help with the development of the fetus also plays a role in increasing the body's response and the increased pressure. How does it do that? The increased hormone concentration at that point in time causes a bit of fluid retention. It also causes other changes, physiological changes within the woman that causes an increased pressure to be sustained throughout the body. So that's why it's very important, during pregnancy to have regular checks of the blood pressure so that things can be treated in time. Most women can develop a serious condition which is called preeclampsia as a result of this gestational hypertension. And that is an obstetric emergency. So the importance of regular and consistent health checks, blood pressure checks, blood sugar checks during pregnancy is really important. And some things can be done which are quite simple and inexpensive, like a urine test. Through urinalysis, we can check whether there's signs of protein or signs of blood in the urine, and that can give us an indication of whether or not there is some organ damage in form of kidney damage. Now, that marked with high blood pressure in the hands of a trained obstetrician would know that this patient needs to be treated very as an emergency and need to be controlled in order to preserve the life of the mother and the fetus.
We seem to understand what the blood pressure measure is for adults between 100 and 140 mmHg. But what exists for children?
Repeating that or just speaking a little bit louder.
Doctor, I'm saying that we seem to understand what the blood pressure measure is for adults. What is the measuring standard? What number exists for children?
All right, Dr. Gregoire, I don't know if you can still hear us, but I think we have to redirect that question back to the doctor in the studios. Thank you so very much, Dr. Gregoire Williams, for joining us from Abuja. All right, maybe Dr. maybe I want to should take that question.
Again, let's get it straight. anybody at any age can develop hypertension. Now, you know, what we didn't do initially was to categorize hypertension as what we call primary hypertension, which we don't know the cause, and secondary hypertension due to some issues, okay? When you now see, because the blood pressure depends on the age of the child, there's a formula we use to calculate the blood pressure, the normal blood pressure in children. Okay. And then even the measurement of blood pressure in children is a bit different from that of adults when we're doing the measurement. Okay. But there's no way a child, for instance, who is 5 years old will have a systolic of 90 and you won't be worried. I mean, the upper one of 90 you won't be worried. Even whereas in adults it's actually, you know, quite normal, getting below normal. So, you know, there's a graph and a calculation that tells you the age and blood pressure. Okay. Then we know that it rises gradually until it gets to the adult level. But when you now see hypertension in a child, what it means essentially is that there's a secondary cause of that hypertension. Is a child having, you know, a heart problem? Is a child having a vascular problem? Like the, you know, sometimes congenital syphilis can lead to narrowing of the aorta, the big vessels that take blood from heart down to the other part, lower extremities. And then that one pushes the pressure, which the heart needs to pump up. So, is the child having bilateral renal agenesis? That means even the kidney is not properly formed, it's not functioning properly. So with that kind of thing, the blood pressure, the homeostasis will be a problem, and the blood pressure will go up. Is the child having any of the hormonal endocrine tumors, okay, that can lead to outpours of specific hormones into the body of the child? So in essence, what I'm saying is this: a child with hypertension must actually be what we call a secondary hypertension. There must have been a cause for the child to have hypertension. Okay. And then it used to be that those days, if you see hypertension in adolescence, you start wondering, I said that let me look for the cause. But nowadays, because of the changing lifestyle, we now start seeing hypertension even at a lower age. Yes.
That's right. Okay, we're still going to come back and talk about diet and hypertension. You know, what should... Yeah. We'll welcome you back on the program Galaxy Today. Now we're going straight to our studios in Ibadan as we have on standby another doctor. This time he's a senior registrar in internal medicine at the University College Hospital in Ibadan, Dr. Adeshokon Emmanuel. Good afternoon, Dr. Emmanuel. Thank you for joining us on the program. Now, I want to ask straight on, from what the doctor here has said already, sometimes you don't have symptoms, you know, when you have hypertension, so you're just walking about thinking and feeling you're good. Meanwhile, you're dying slowly. As a doctor, isn't there something at all, you know, that people should actually watch out for? Like a warning sign, anything at all, no matter how minute it is, that could actually make you, you know, actually want to take better care of yourself and say, let me head to the hospital, you know, and see if I'm hypertensive. Isn't there anything at all? And then again, let's talk a bit more about complications from hypertension. All right, I don't know if you can hear us, Dr. Emmanuel. We'll try and...
like it's been said, hypertension doesn't have any symptom. There are no symptoms at all for hypertension. There are no symptoms at all for hypertension. In fact, they said that when you start having, by the time you start having symptoms for hypertension, that means it's already too late. You already have complications. You already have organs that are damaged. So you don't want to wait till you have problems of organ damage before you start doing something about it. And that's where the role of prevention actually comes in. It's advised that you do your blood pressure frequently, especially for people that are older, from let's say 35, 40-year-old. You should do your blood pressure frequently, like say maybe every 6 months to start with. So And when you are talking about complications, like it's been said, I was listening to a discussion earlier in the studio. The kidneys can be affected, the eyes can be affected. You could have a patient could have stroke, could have a ischemic heart disease. That's called heart attack. So all these other things are things that can creep in when it's already too late. So there are no symptoms that you see initially.
It's quite interesting to understand this fact, especially when you say that the moment you start seeing symptoms, then it is
gone.
already, you're almost gone. Why then do you think that we've not really adopted that culture of home monitoring? For most people who want to check their blood pressure now, they have to go to the hospital. You know how crowded public hospitals are, and of course how pricey the private ones are. Why haven't we encouraged this culture of home monitoring?
Home monitoring, it's like you suggested, it's a good thing. It should be encouraged. People should be encouraged wherever they could to measure their blood pressure, whether they may present in the hospital or even the primary health care centers that we have around that are closer to us. You don't have to go to a very big hospital to have your BP, blood pressure measured. And like I said, there are devices that could also be used for home monitoring. There are electronic devices now that are very portable and that could be used. So all these things can be used for screening, and thereafter patient would present to the hospital for proper evaluation and then treatment.
Before we let you go, because of our time, let's talk treatment. How do you treat hypertensive patients? Second of all, does hypertension have a cure? Can you cure someone who has hypertension? Can you give treatment and then the person becomes cured? No more hypertension. And then what are the methods of treating hypertension currently?
I'm going to answer your question, especially the last one. Does hypertension have a cure? In broad terms, we say no, hypertension doesn't have a cure. However, having said that, it's been said in the studio earlier, there is what is called primary hypertension and also what is called secondary hypertension. For primary hypertension, the underlying cause really is not known. But for secondary hypertension, which could be from other diseases, so to say. For instance, somebody that has a thyroid swelling, that means the swelling of the gland of the neck and develop thyroiditis. If that is treated from any means, and that can be treated surgically, for instance, okay, that person can be cured for hypertension. But the most common type of hypertension, which is primary hypertension, there is really no cure for hypertension. Having said that, the treatment for hypertension is in two ways. There is non-drug treatment and then there is drug treatment. The non-drug treatment includes things like lifestyle modification, and we usually use that for patients that have mild hypertension. Such lifestyle modification will include exercise, daily exercise, like having brisk walk for 20 to 30 minutes, like every other day. Reduction of salt in diet, like to be mentioned earlier in the studio, and also, of course, reduction of alcohol. Not smoking. So all those things may suffice for some people that have moderate, mild hypertension, moderate hypertension, and that such things may just suffice. However, having said that, there is drug treatment for hypertension that can be used in conjunction with the non-pharmacological treatment that I talked about earlier, or may be used like I said, for that. So there are drugs, different classes of drugs that could be used. Usually, we may start with a drug, but then as patient is being evaluated and as the needs of the patient is, we may have to use up to 2 or 3 drugs in combination to treat the hypertension. And of course, patient will have to be on these drugs for life, as long as they live.
Dr. Adeshoko Emmanuel, who joined us from UCH Ibadan. Thank you for your contributions. Now let's come to you, Yemisi. As a nutritionist, please guide us again, on how we can help ourselves along, First of all, preventatively. How do we eat right to prevent hypertension? And then also, can I say curatively, for those who are hypertensive, how do you modify some things, so that you have a better chance at good health?
Well, our food is very, very important. Without meals, nobody will survive.
That's right.
And with the meals, again, we can bring illnesses to our body if we don't manage it well and
Wow.
we don't eat well. There's something called the Eat Well plate, and it's just a portion guide on how we should portion our foods in our plates. And our carbohydrates should not be too much, protein should not be too much, fat should not be too much. Everything has got its own quantity and its own portion size in the plate. And what the guide tells us is the carbohydrates should not be more than 33% in our plates. Yeah, the fruits and vegetables as well should not be more than 33% as well. So if you're going to eat, for example, 1 and a fifth size of amala, then the effort that should come with that should be about 1/5 size as well.
Okay.
But what I've noticed there in Africa is the effort can have swimming
Palm oil. Could be
Thank
swimming
you.
in palm oil. Wow.
Yeah, when you go out like that, for example, to restaurants to eat that way, just take it off. You don't want the palm oil, you want the effort itself.
Okay, remove the oil.
Yes.
What's wrong with the oil?
Because when you touch, as I tell my patients this, if you touch the palm oil and you touch the vegetable oil, which one is thicker?
The palm oil.
Yeah. And that's what goes into the body. The thickness goes into the body because it's saturated fat, because it's
Blockage.
arteries and all that. And the heart has to beat faster. Because if, for example, the arteries or the vein is supposed to be this thick and it has fat clogged all around it, then the heart still has to pump the blood to get down to wherever.
So the heart is actually doing more.
So you're saying
Okay,
that
so you are laboring your heart.
Thank you.
Okay.
groundnut oil is more nutritious than palm oil.
And it
It's
shouldn't
more
be too much
healthy.
either.
Healthy.
More healthy, right?
Yeah,
It's
and
healthier.
And how I tell my patients is, even the groundnut oil, there are different types as well. You see the sharp-looking ones and you see the sleepy-looking ones. So when you go to the market, you go for the sharp-looking ones, the ones that have got 100% cholesterol-free written on it as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and when you're going to cook with it, you use your cooking spoon to measure your vegetable oil. If it's the palm oil, you use the spoon, the tablespoon we use to eat.
Oh.
You use that one to measure.
Okay.
So there's everything has to be in its own portion size. Yeah, the protein should not be more than 16% in our plate.
How do you measure that? Because when you say 16%, for people who don't like mathematics like you throw me off. So I'm now guessing. Okay, so like, can we do that like the size of a palm? Like,
Well,
what is
let me say
33% first of all of carbohydrate? How do you measure that? Like, is it a palmful?
Palmful of
So the
amala.
swallow shouldn't be like more than this.
Right,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That
Then
makes sense.
The meat, for example, is protein. The meat has been proven not to be thicker than our last finger, and not to be bigger from the tip of our fingers down to the edge.
Down to here.
The end.
And it's got to be one, right?
Just one
No,
piece.
I'm lost.
How do you explain that to some husbands?
I'm lost. You know why I'm lost? Did you say that the handful of amala is what everyone should eat per meal? Because how does that feel somebody who's been at work since morning and who just got
You
one
make
meal?
it up with the
Didn't
vegetable.
eat. You see, what I've noticed there about the Africans is most of us don't eat breakfast. Breakfast is the most important meal
Of the
You've
day,
gone 7
yes.
hours
There's no time for
to
breakfast.
sleep,
Yeah.
and you wake up, you're rushing to work again, and you're running to work again. You know, it leaves your body hungry. So obviously, if you're going to eat, you're going to eat more than 4 wraps of fufu, for example.
For you to
for you
you
feel
know, to
satisfied.
yes,
Yeah,
to assuage that hunger.
And it shouldn't be so.
All right.
If you had had breakfast, for example, 2 slices of bread with fillings inside, and you eat that with a lovely cup of coffee. For lunch, or in between your lunch and your breakfast, you have with fruits as well. By the time you're going to eat lunch, you're not going to be as hungry compared to, you know, you just eat one, for example, or the highest 1.5 of your fufu instead of having 4 wraps of fufu.
Wow.
You know, because you've eaten earlier, your body feels satisfied. Yeah.
And then lots of vegetables.
Lots of vegetables. Yeah, and dairy milk as well. It's been proven to be on the Eat Well plate.
Okay.
That one should just be 12% in our plate.
So the doctor earlier was kind of sketchy. I mean, what's that word? When we offer the tea, he was saying he does not. That he's too
The
old
milk,
to take
yeah,
milk.
to take milk.
At what age do you reduce the percentage of milk intake?
Well, the milk one, a big 15-year-old should not be taking full fat or full cream milk.
Okay.
Yeah, so everybody, when you go to the market again, pick the tins of milk and compare the ingredients. Nobody can do that for you. You're the
Yeah, so
doctor
it's an
yourself.
error for you to actually know what you're
Know
putting
what
in
you're
your body,
doing.
you know, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so what kind of foods should we stay away from, you know, totally? We've already highlighted that palm oil and vegetable oil. We have to, I don't know why it's even called vegetable oil, because they're not derived from vegetables. That oil, usually, is granite oil.
Well, the different
You know, yeah,
types is
you know.
not the soya bean
Okay,
oil.
all right.
Different
Okay, I'll let
types.
it slide. You know, but we have to reduce the quantity we cook
that,
with. So
yeah.
what else should we stay away from?
Also, if we're going to eat salt as well, we said the one about salt. Salt, stock cubes should be reduced.
Okay.
If we're going to eat chicken, turkey, before cooking, you remove the skin of the chicken and the turkey before cooking.
Okay.
Because if you compare somebody that's removed the skin and somebody that's not removed the skin, you see on the stock fat.
Yes.
And even underneath the skin as well, if you're peeling it as well, you see fat stored underneath the skin. So before cooking, you rip off the skin and all the fat around it as well.
Okay.
The chicken,
So what you have is the lean meat.
the lean
Yes.
meat, thank you. The meat as well, the shaki, all the fat around it, you tear it up and you cook your shaki and eat. The kidneys as well, the internal organs as well, seem to have lots of meat from the goats or the
Yeah.
cow.
They're called offals.
So
Yeah.
you remove all those fats and you cook your meat, use the stock. The stock is very, very, very important because it's got lots of iron. So everyone should cook with it. But we don't want fat swimming
On
stock.
your food.
Yeah?
Okay. All right. Let's have Dr. Meba to react to that. By the time we take away everything.
Especially given the economic situation that we find ourselves.
Interestingly, my first suggestion to Mrs. Lawal is that
Yeah.
she should go and set up a restaurant
This kind of meal.
and arrange this kind of food and serve a lot of people so that all of us can come.
be- yes, can
Because
be healthy.
The reality of Nigeria is so challenging that we have to really, wrap our mind around it and find a way
Yes.
Very interesting.
Yes.
to eat healthy.
Exactly.
Again, away from hypertension, initially I said I was very happy, and I'm going to tell you why I'm happy.
Okay.
Yesterday I was on China Global Television and I was campaigning for a candidate to become the WHO Director General.
Wow.
And that was Tedros Ghebreyesus from Ethiopia. And he won.
Wow. Let's applaud that.
And he
Let's
won.
applaud
You understand?
that.
And he won.
Okay.
That was actually, you know, a plus. I was very happy. You know, why am I happy? Because again, you look at WHO, some of us have actually advocated for it to be scrapped. Because again, you see them sometimes when they are supposed to react to some issues, they don't react on time. The one they react, they overreact. The Ebola was a case where they failed to react appropriately. Zika virus was a case where they overreacted.
Reacted.
We even seen that even sometimes you want them to do things, they cannot get away, they cannot get focused. At the end of the day, they have to create another organization like in HIV, it's UNH.
Yes, and
to
it was bastardized.
To deal with
Yes.
it. Then you now also see them that they don't even have fund. 80% of their fund comes from outside agencies, people that are external to health system. So now they are just, the member states are just producing 20% of the fund. So Rotary will say, the money I'm giving you, use it for polio. Bill Gates will say, the money I'm giving you, use for this. So they don't have control. It's such a messed up organization in a way, in quotes, you know. But we hope that with the advent of this guy, he's going to look at the funding. He's going to even look at the structure. Even sometimes you cannot trust data coming from WHO. They issue all sorts of warning. Even water can give you cancer according to WHO. So you get confused and messed up. We look at this organization that we should honestly, at the health sector, people that are discussing here, we should be interested in this thing because this actually trickled down to us. Now, what they've done really is to say 17th of this month was World Hypertensive Day. But after World Hypertensive Day, what happens? So we've not seen the sustainable campaign that can help, you know, member states to firm their health system. Yeah. We just hope the guy is going to do something because Africa is contributing such a huge numbers to the mortality and mobility worldwide. Yeah. And we just want to reverse it.
And we need to reverse that. Let's put Africa as a continent, you know, on the global map in a positive way. That's yes.
It's been an interesting show.
Very interesting.
Thank you guys.
And we must say this to all those our brothers out there who feel drinking a carton of beer every night is a show of affluence. I don't know how that... Yes, because I see that a lot. And if you look around, well, Lagos, where I live, virtually every building now has a beer parlor. There's nothing wrong with turning up, but then you turn up.
Maybe the wife should be coming. Maybe it's the wife that's chasing them.
Really,
to go and drink beer
it all comes back to the woman somehow. That's not right.
Take the beer home, and they'll be there to drink.
You know, but,
and then you can
my message, whatever. My message is, please, let's reduce the rate of drinking. People are dying on the daily. The fact that you've been drinking for years and you are still standing doesn't mean that you're doing the right thing. Please, let's be more health conscious. Absolutely. Let's eat right.
Absolutely.
I didn't say eat well. Let's eat right, you know, and let's all stay alive.
You know, the biggest revelation on the show this afternoon is that hypertension, not a show for body.
It doesn't, no symptoms.
I mean, there's no way you can get to know. And the moment you even start knowing, that means you are caught to dying.
Exactly.
And so we need to
That's
watch
so
our
scary.
consumption of salt. And she mentioned fats. That to me is the most delicious.
And you seem to need it though, you know.
No. Somebody said I looked like the president yesterday. That's not fair. If you're fatter than me, you are too fat.
Yes. All right, let's watch what we eat, all right, and let's stay healthy. And I know we all have busy schedules, but anytime you just happen to walk past a hospital, most government hospitals I know is free. You just walk in and you get your BP checked. I know that. Walk into a hospital, check your BP. It doesn't take 5 minutes, and just know your status. Exactly. Thank you for watching the show today. Thank you.